Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Here are my best ideas for improving America. As you're going to see, some would be described as liberal, others conservative, others apolitical. First, I'll start with a liberal one. Reduce concentration of hyper-extreme wealth. Extraordinary wealth is concentrated among a few ultra-wealthy individuals, corporations, and other entities. And that's both intrinsically obscene when there are so many poor people, but it's especially so because those entities are involved not in creating better products and services, but financialization, that is basically moving money around. So I'm not talking here about Amazon, Apple, Facebook, whatever. I'm talking about big banks and hedge funds. Those entities need to realize some sense of obligation to the public and to voluntarily redistribute some wealth, or, as much as I'm not a big fan of big government, some regulation is required or would be required. The second recommendation I'm going to make is also a liberal one, and that is to reinvent how our leaders are selected. The metastasizing length and cost of political campaigns ensures that the best people don't run for office, let alone get elected. A wiser system would have our leaders selected, not elected. For example, a legislature might consist of the CEOs of the fastest growing for and non-profits, the winner of the Teacher of the Year Award or Social Worker of the Year Award, those kind of people, the most cited in academic journals philosophers and scientists, the most popular novelist, most popular musician, etc., artist of some sort, plus maybe 20% of people selected at random. That's going to get you a clearly interesting and competent group of people, and varied, truly diverse, without the corrupting influence and the winnowing effect of having 4 years nonstop press the flesh campaigns. Third, and now we move to a more conservative recommendation, to restore meritocracy. Starting in the 60s, society's mind molders, the schools, colleges, and especially the media, news media, including the so influential Google search, its algorithm is far from neutral, very liberally biased, as well as entertainment media, novels, movies, theater. All of that has manipulated us into believing that it's wiser to redistribute resources from the best and brightest to the lowest achievers. Hence, college admissions and hiring and promotion are decreasing emphasis on merit and increasing emphasis on getting more women, minorities, disabled selected. Less obvious, the percentage of financial and human resources has been redistributed from those, I should say a larger percentage of financial and human resources is being distributed from those with the greatest potential to profit from those resources to those with the greatest deficit, with little regard to their potential to profit from those dollars of ours, tax dollars, and our time and effort. That Alice in Wonderland thinking, that is redistribution from those with the greatest potential to profit to others, is no more rational than the owner of 10 oil wells deciding to put the most effort into drilling the least performing one of the 10. That is a formula for reducing the U.S. to its lowest common denominator, and arguably will be more devastating to the U.S. standard of living and to its worldwide competitiveness than any aggression that Russia, China, or whatever could perpetrate on us. I am pessimistic that we'll ever restore more meritocracy. I think that we will continue our Marxist-derived focus on redistribution toward merit-indifferent egalitarianism, because the colleges and media have been appropriated by the left, which brainwashes the next generation of people to believe in the redistributive, I'll call it claptrap. It's a cohort of people who are later going to replace society's current mind molders. So I see the anti-merit trend not as a pendulum, but as an inexorable descent into mediocrity's pit. Next, reinvent education. Think back to all your teachers and college instructors. How many of them were transformational, not just teaching you the subject so you really understood it while enjoying it, but enhanced your appreciation of the subject and transformed your life as a result? If you're like most people, the answer is few or none of your teachers. But in this wide world of ours, there is a small percentage of such extraordinary teachers. And thanks to the wide availability of fast internet, interactive video online courses taught by those super teachers would enable everyone, rich and poor, from Harlem to Beverly Hills, indeed Aden to Zululand, to receive world-class instruction at a fraction of the cost of the assortment of live teachers, a few of which are transformational, but many more of whom are not, or worse than not transformational. The big obstruction here is the teachers union. They won't admit it, but that's right. They're afraid of losing jobs, and they would lose jobs. But teachers' jobs are less important than our children, our future. The second part of the 1-2 punch for reinventing education is to blow up the existing curriculum, especially in high school and college. So few students care about, or importantly need to know about, geometric theorems, the causes of the War of the Roses, the intricacies of Shakespeare, stochastic processes in chemistry, and so on. Indeed, there is little evidence that all of that improves the critical thinking that is so often they cite as the rationale for such trivia or irrelevancies. What most students need and want, at least at the age when they're 17 to 22 or 15 to 22, is the practical. We can't be that elitist and just focus on the esoteric. They want to know how to practically resolve conflicts, become financially literate, plan for a career, have a career, advice about relationships, about sex, about the life well led. Now I should make special mention of the entrepreneurship issue, entrepreneurship education, that is. Entrepreneurship is the only true source of job creation. Government, that is taxpayer-funded jobs, merely eat our seed corn. I am well aware that many businesses are, quote, ethically challenged. So what's required is K through 20 ethical entrepreneurship curriculum. My next recommendation is we need to redirect research funding in 3 areas. Perhaps most important, we should prioritize development of what I call an intelligence pill and an altruism pill. Of course, environment matters, but genetics predispose us in the same way as even a poorly tuned Ferrari will win a race against a well-tuned VW bug. As long as this, quote, pill was available, probably going to be gene therapy, was available free to the poor via Medicaid, as is the case with other medical procedures, that would decrease the achievement gap because the poor have more to gain. Clearly, the change the environment model has failed. We have spent $22 trillion over the last half century to try to close the achievement gap, and yet it remains as wide as ever. Here's the second of the 3 redirections for research funding. Instead of racing to legalize marijuana, and I can't help but think that other drugs are next, which is by the way, pot is far more dangerous than the big tobacco endorsed or backed advocates would have us believe. Do Google search marijuana meta-evaluation, National Academy of Sciences, Google adverse effects marijuana, National Institutes of Health, and you'll see what I mean. We really should be doing social science and hard science research on how to prevent and cure substance abuse. Alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, opioids, etc. wreak unimaginable pain, not only on the abusers, but their families, on their employers, and on society. For example, consider the pain that comes from the victims of accidents that are caused by impaired drivers. Consider how much of our overwhelmed healthcare system is being overwhelmed by the sequelae of drug abuse, both to the abuser and to others. For example, the pain incurred by victims of impaired driver vehicle accidents. And the third area of research redirection is we must redirect energy spending from solar and wind to nuclear. Sure, solar and wind are nice add-ons, but unless we're willing to live like the Stone Agers, we need a clean, unlimited source of energy, and that is nuclear. And notwithstanding what the hardline radical green activists would have us believe, nuclear energy is not Chernobyl and Fukushima. For decades now, much of the world's energy comes from nuclear energy, and the technology is quite safe and becoming more compact. If with sufficient investment, I believe, for example, we'll see a time when our cars, our trucks, our buses, our trains, our planes are powered by clean nuclear. And finally, we need to exit the Middle East, with one exception. For 2,000 years, the West has attempted to fix the Middle East, from Alexander the Great to Churchill, to our recent travails in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Syria, and our efforts to stop terrorism from Taliban to Hezbollah to Hamas. We must exit the Middle East, except for modest support for Israel, which is the Middle East's only democracy, only fair to women country, and it is the tiny nation responsible for wildly disproportionate medical and technological advances that benefit us all, from the PC chip to Waze, that GPS on our phones. That tiny population, Israel, has won a dozen Nobel Prizes since 1966. Way disproportionate. In conclusion, of course, I do not have the hubris to believe that these solutions are free of downsides or that this is a comprehensive list. Other items I could include would be a no tax return simple income tax, or maybe even replacing it with a VAT tax, reducing existential level government debt that the U.S. has, including to China. But the foregoing really are my best thoughts in a nutshell. I do welcome your comments and your questions. I do thank you for watching. If you feel it's worthy, I would welcome your giving it a thumbs up or sharing it on social media. There's a share button right below the video, and any comments or questions. And again, thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.